Hello, brothers and sisters in Christ, and this is Savannah from Chicken Soup for the Truth or Soul. And as I said in my last Boggs video, I'm going to be doing a video today about Brooke Shields. So this person has been through a lot, and I feel like they could possibly be one of the most shining examples of what can truly occur with a child who grows up and spends their entire life in Hollywood. This person began their career at 11 months old. And what they're about to talk about in this interview is in regards to that. And they're going to hint at what they went through. And it's going to be very clear, brothers and sisters, that whatever your mind can go to as far as how far the Lord will give you knowledge on something like what this person has been through as it relates to sexual abuse, mental abuse, spiritual. I want to say a cloak goes over someone who's been abused as badly as this person. A cloak, instead of a cloaking of the Holy Spirit, a cloaking of demonic spirits. So there may be times where I pause just to point that out. Most times it's going to be pausing and relating to what their mother is going to say, because their mother had no care or concern for them at all. And if you look at interviews leading up to this day, this interview was taken sometime in the 70s, I believe, if not early 80s. And if this person, you wonder how they don't have resentment for their parents. It seems like a lot of them do the right thing, the biblical thing, and not hold resentment and forgive their parents. This person seems to have done that, or at least they would like people to think that they have. Brooke Shields is extremely intelligent, and it seems like they have been trapped in this world. And I hope to God that they can get out before they die and repent. But sometimes those two things are intertwined. The only way they can get out is if they blood out, kind of like a gang. They have to get killed if they want to leave. Sometimes when they go this high up, which is in the rituals, then it's hard for them to get out. Okay? I know many of you out there know about these rituals I'm referring to, these sexual rituals. And her, because very clear Brooke is both. And that's the other thing, them referring to them as a girl. This does something mentally, psychologically, obviously spiritually is the main sarcophagus, you could say, like that envelops this entire, I know that probably wasn't the right word, but like I'm trying to think of something all-encompassing would be better, like it be the huge denominator for what I see when I look at this person. They're super duper spiritually indebted. They're spiritually compromised. But without further ado, I'm going to play this video. You're going to be, if you haven't seen this before, you might be shocked. They made a bunch of sketches all the way up through when Mad TV was on, just about how ridiculous and almost theatrical. We know the world's a stage, that this pair, when they were together, the mother and the daughter, really father, son, but anyway, it was completely unforgettable. So let's get right into it. You're going to notice this guy's voice immediately. His creep factor is 1000%.
You might call Brooke Shields a teen angel. or Venus in blue jeans, or just a beautiful baby. Brooke has established herself as an actress and sex symbol at an age when most girls are still just girls. And she has taken some dramatic risks, sanctioned by her mother, Terri, on the road to stardom. They're upstairs tonight, talking about all of it. So stay with.
I'm gonna pause it right here just to sum up what he's saying right now. They're saying he's taken a lot of risks on the road to fame. He's calling her a pretty baby. That movie, Pretty Baby, I think, is what it's called, about a child prostitute, had come out recently. I'm pretty sure this has got to be like the late 70s, if not sometime right after into the early 80s. They're underaged in this interview. Just keep in mind, they're talking about him like, A, they're a pretty girl. They're both. They embody that whole Ishtar, Statue of Liberty thing. They have this obsession with, like, pagan goddesses, and of course they're androgynous. I don't like studying into the occult at all, but as Christians, we're supposed to be aware of our enemy and expose the darkness, reprove it. So Mr. E, aka Transpocalypse Now, if you can hunt down some of those copies that people have, he goes into this and how this person embodies that image. Now, I paused here because you can see the spirit on these people here. His eyes look black here. This is Bill Boggs. His hand is starting to morph. This is truly what the person that you see isn't how they actually are. The person that they actually are is their spiritual selves. That's what really makes up who a person is. Their spiritual body defines how they act in the physical, because the spiritual is more real than the physical. So I paused here because you can start to see them. This blurring effect isn't because, the camera is old, or this is like old school, so the video's been altered with years, and it's whatever people's excuses are. When usually it's easier, I said in another video, usually it's easier to see the spiritual body on a person when you scrub through, maybe say, let's see, I just hit a good spot where people think that it's like, you're scrubbing through the video, but you're seeing their spiritual body on display. All the so-called, the fuzziness or whatever, people think that's really pixelation. That's all the demonic spirits around them. When it comes to videos such as this, you may even notice that when you're watching a video where people are singing, like, say, spiritually influencing music, say a gospel, spiritually healing music, rather, like inspirational music, Christian music, yeah, you may hear a different kind of sound, like the presence. You can tell they're in the presence of the Holy Spirit. Their voice, you can't understand how their voice begins to do these things, and they sound so great, and all these kinds of things. So it goes both ways. There's, of course, the two sides, good and evil. So the evil spirits, the good spirits. So, but when it comes to the Hollywood belly of the beast, you're going to get the opposite side. This is another good place I'm pausing with this video, because you can see, if you can try to look closer, really zoom in, You're seeing their spiritual selves, which is much more real than their physical selves.
With us. Upstairs. At Xenon.
Because I don't find rhythm in it.
No.
I like music with tremendous rhythm.
I find it a bit hard to find the rhythm. I don't hear the music yet. Slowly. I think I'm more old-fashioned.
Well, yeah.
You're more old-fashioned than your mother?
Country music, yeah.
I like the way the people dress.
Oh, it's
And yeah, I think it's the whole, the whole new thing. It's just a lot of beautiful, actually, sounds. Outside of what I think, when you said there's no beat to it,
But
there's
there is
certain,
really.
in fact, there's Blondie herself, and she's pretty.
She's a
There's
beautiful woman.
diva.
New wave, I mean,
Just a second. I just wanted to point out how, let's see. This is a handsome young man right here that they turn into a female. You can see the outline of the skull, large forehead sloping back, can tell, fully developed brow ridge, almost 18 years old, young male, chiseled jaw, square jaw. Again, the skull is huge.
she's, I think, one of the first people that did come out with songs that were
I love it. There is a difference
representative.
between the new wave and the punk. Whereas I prefer the new wave to the punk. The punk is not. It's not even new wave anymore. Now it's DOR.
What?
If you say new wave, you're behind the times.
DORs.
What's DOR? I think it's like dance-orientated rhythms.
Sounds like something.
That's what. So, like, if you're really hip, you say.
When a person becomes compromised like this, they're no longer truly themselves. Notice when they laugh and they smile, they're not really there. They're not really themselves after they've been through as much as they've been through, which they're not going to allude to. And they gave this person a persona back then, like they hadn't ever been with anyone before, and that in the movie nothing happened, like they didn't have to sleep with the producer and the director and everyone else who wanted them. They made a movie about children prostitutes, so it's almost a given that the kids in the movie, to get the part, it's like the most obvious thing ever what they had to do. This person is not themselves. This face overlapped. The overlapping of the spiritual and the physical, that is not their face. This is not their face. This is the spirit that is controlling them. We wrestle not against flesh and blood.
DOR, you don't say new. Wow, it used to be out of the times to say punk. I guess punk's really far behind.
Where it is. But a lot of those things just really don't last for very long.
No, they don't.
It's a phase usually.
Terri, are you, how much involved in directing Brooks' career are you? Are you the agent and the manager?
Yes, yes.
AKA handler. When you hear agent, manager, know that there are other terminology or synonym for that, for those words are handler. And they have many handlers. It's not just their mother. They had a team.
I'm not less and less becoming involved. It's that it's easier now because Brooke is growing up and she has more of an opinion, and it really makes it easier on me.
It's a slave-handler relationship. Like, they're looking at them as if they're about to receive, they're looking to receive a command, or that's just their programming, to look to them, not in a mother-daughter, in this case father-son, because they're both. But in this case, it can also be a way of disassociating, going into the program to disassociate from how they really feel, because how they should really feel towards their mother, father, who has steered them to and signed them up to do all these degrading roles, like how they had Pretty Baby, and the next movie I think was like Blue Lagoon. I remember watching that thinking, how can they be 13 years old like how I was when I was watching it? I know, too young. And like, why are they almost naked? And then they want someone to believe that this person remained a virgin until they were like in college or something like that. You know, this person went to an Ivy League school, and they were in they went to a boarding school, but prior to that, where they were in an eating club. I had already looked this up a long time ago because I was just so interested in this person and how they always seemed to be so intelligent. They went to this boarding school, and then they went and got into Princeton. And then, like, they also joined a secret society. So it's not like when they're not there, they're still there. They just have all these personalities, and that makes them very controllable.
So you can get Brooke's reaction.
Yes, right. When before it was a little bit harder because her aunt I worked very close with, we would decide most of the things for Brooke.
Did you see their reaction? They wanted to say something, but they're bound by something. Witchcraft, probably, that their mother put on them. Mother put on Brooke. Tried to come up with a masculine substitute name because Brooke really already sounds masculine in itself, but maybe Brooks. That sounds very masculine. It seems to fit their appearance better. Brooks. Or Booker, or something like that. Very ritzy sounding, too. Sound like they came from royalty or something, hey? Oh, wait. A lot of these people did. They did descend from royalty. So, oh, and I wanted to point this out before, but I figured, nah. A lot of times they have full-faced spiritual manifestations on their body that are visible. I just noticed he's doing the double horns very subtly. That said, it was witchcraft that they put on them so that they couldn't respond to these questions the way they want to and not get triggered and things like this. Their tongue came out. That's another manifestation, spiritual manifestation. They say this whole reptilian lizard thing, and that's really a stretch because it's all really cut and dry. God wouldn't make it complicated. He's not a god of confusion. This whole reptile lizard thing now, like, of course, in the Bible, it says, like, the snake was the most subtle beast in the field, so, but that snake, it's not like, that snake is inside of people, like, it's worked the snake inside of people, so sure, like, I tend to believe someone like Queen Elizabeth II really could shapeshift into a lizard, but, as far as how they appear, a lot of times they just have that so-called reptilian look already, like, that's really a demonic look, and, that's really what it's based off of. People say reptilian, but oh yeah. So the face-formed formations. There's the eyes. I'm gonna point out the full face. This is the eyes. I had somebody do this. There's some guy over. Well, not some guy. I don't want to put it that way. He's a guy that I don't know. The Holy Spirit led me to him. I was looking for a video, and this is a tangent. I was looking for a video on Frankie Muniz because there's another victim just like them that came after them who went through the almost exact same thing. except for maybe a step above. Frankie Muniz, he never even, it's like he never even was in any movies or TV shows. He doesn't remember anything. Complete MK Ultra, slave, completely, and then he got to use the excuse, oh, because he had a NASCAR career, and so that's why he doesn't remember. The truth is, he was probably a proponent, used in one of those programs like Kathy O'Brien said they were part of, like a presidential model, but in this case, like used for international travel to complete missions, like a spy, like Spy Kids type stuff. Remember, he was in a movie called Agent Cody Banks? Yeah. And to watch that sequel, Agent Cody Banks 2, I'm telling you, they put it all out there. I don't know. I can't really sit through movies anymore, even to like take notes for future videos, but I have a whole notebook full of notes on a lot of movies I did make it through, and that's one of them. That's second Agent Cody Banks 2. And these people are really, 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 really controlled. I'm gonna put it on full speed because after this, once they get rolling, the punches, it's just not gonna stop. Once they start here with this person is like, it's like a barrage of attacks coming at Brooke. So anyway, I wanted to finish pointing out, Sonny Cardona is the one who helped through the Holy Spirit to help me find these facial formations. Say, even in the sky, you may see, oh, well, I see faces in the sky, I see faces in the grass, I see faces on objects, on people. It happens everywhere. Mostly, I notice it in the hair, but it's everywhere. And this is the spiritual world overlapping on top, a layer on top of the physical. And yeah, how I found Sonny Cardona, who helps point out these kinds of things like faces, facial formations, and a lot more on his channel, Truth Never Sleeps, which the old one was deleted. So if you want to see the archives, you got to go to BitChute, Truth Never Sleeps. I found him because I was looking on a video about Frankie Muniz. Frankie Muniz. That video is gone now, and he broke it down. All the reason that they can't remember anything is because they've been through MK Ultra. So, and he was the only one who had a video on the entire internet about it. So, you seek and you shall find. Like, he will let you find like everything that you're looking for. Anyway, this is the eyes. You may even see the horns poking out. There's the nose. Here's the mouth. And I just wanted to point that out because this is something that happens. It's everywhere. It's not just, oh, this is a one-time occurrence. Okay?
Aunt Lila.
Auntie
is
Lila.
Very smart. Very smart woman.
Yes.
What do you... I really would like... you never told me the actual thing that led up to Brooke doing her first commercial when she was a little tiny child. What, 2 or 3 years old?
Oh, well, actually, she never did commercials until Brooke thought she was 2 or 3. She first modeled for Ivory Soap when she was 11 months old. But it wasn't until she was around, I'd say, 5 or so, where she had gotten her first commercial.
Did that have to do when she was 11 months old with literally the way she looked as a baby?
Yes, exactly. And she was well behaved, believe it or not. Well, actually...
I'm sorry, I had to pause again because this is so uncomfortable for them. It's like monkey in the middle. Like, it's literally monkey in the middle from this point forward. And these people are just ping-ponging again. Ping-pong. Yeah, ping-pong. Comet ping-pong. They're the kid. Notice they have a bowl of fruit in front of them. I didn't point that out. Fruit. This is a whole ritual, too. But they're ping-ponging between them like they're not even there. They're ping-ponging between them like they're not even there. What happened to them on this photo shoot when they were 11 months old, they're about to go into?
What is this up the sleeve? Well behaved, believe it or not.
Yeah, remember? She had to, they wanted a child under a year old to know how to kiss.
Here we go. Why would a kid, A, know how to kiss? B, why would they want to kiss them? C, why would the mother want to offer them up? That sounds like something biblical, like offering their children unto Baal, you know, giving their children away, to have some creepazoid kiss on them. Kiss, they said?
And it was just a coincidence that Brooke did know how to kiss.
Creepy
So that
smile.
when she
Kissed
kissed
so
her
much.
mother, right?
They knew how to kiss from being kissed from, because they were kissed so much, they said, right from their mouth. They knew how to kiss because they'd been kissed so much. This sounds like a lie that the handler has told to the slave over the years. Oh, that's the background story. Because they knew how to kiss because they'd been kissed so much. As in, like they're trying to point this in the direction of something normal, but there's nothing. What they're not alluding to like a regular like kiss, like the baby was kissed like on the cheek, or they were, like a loving kind of receiving it. No, they're meaning like they were groomed so much before they were 11 months old that of course they knew how to kiss. Look at how awkward this is for them. They have no childhood. This is the life of a Hollywood so-called star. It's nothing glamorous. Glamorous Life, that's another song that came out in and around this period. That song says everything. If you look at the lyrics, Glamorous Life, Sheila E.
That she would have to hand her mother the bar soap and kiss her mother.
Oh.
And, they had gone through so many
that
kids.
cute?
Well, the picture came out, it was ridiculous because of all the time and money spent. I knew it was Brooke because, of course, it's my baby. But the Ivory soap was there, it was beautiful, and the mother's face was gorgeous. But there was just a fat cheek and a shoulder of Brooke. And Scavullo had taken it.
See, even then she worked with the best photographers. It's amazing.
Started off.
Has Brooke's success been difficult for you, again, in that area of when people will project onto you things that have nothing to do with your motives and your reality? I remember and hearing conversations, not recently, but a few years ago, when the Pretty Baby film first came out, where Brooke was playing the child in the House of Prostitution, right, at the turn of the century, that you were a stage mother, that you were living your life through Brooke, that you were exploiting her, the old ugly
Sure,
stuff.
exactly.
How much did it hurt?
The young man looks like he could cry. Gosh, this is the profile of a young man if I've ever. My gosh. Whoa, I just, first of all, I just saw something when I just hit on this little thing down at the bottom. Sorry. This person, sorry, if you're not ready, like once you start to see this stuff, you can't unsee it. Like once I started to notice, like once you start buffering through the video and you start scrubbing rather, see, oh my gosh, you start seeing some crazy manifestations spiritually, like again, possession type stuff. So you fully start to see, which is why a lot of people I see why some people don't want to like wake up. Like I do. Like I can see why, like, but it's a lot. Like you really, oh my gosh. Wait until I do have a video it's gonna be a lot. If you've never seen anything like this before, I have a video. I gotta be ready spiritually to do this video. I'm gonna have to do some extra type of prayer. Like I already pray before the video, but I extra because the eyes go black and eyes start coming out of the skull, all the stuff, and it's very visible for anyone to see. It was on ABC, I'll just say that. It was within the past century, and it involved Diane Sawyer as the reporter, another major handler, but except for the pageant world. Pageant world is where a lot of these kind of folks come from. They start them out as a boy, they have them cross-dressing, aka the Hasty Pudding Theatrical. Now, the Hasty Pudding Theatrical is a play that they put on every year at Yale University, a similar school which Brooke attended, Princeton, probably has a similar thing, but in this case, Hasty Pudding Theatricals go on in the secret society of, you guessed it, one of the most popular ones, Skull and Bones. And it was depicted in a Matt Damon movie where they depicted almost the exact thing that they do, except for they couldn't have put it all out there because it's supposedly a secret society. Everything from when they have them in a circle and they're playing in what looks like their own feces, and then they pee on them from above and laugh at them and joke. Then they get into the coffin and they have to drink blood and they have to tell their secrets and they have to masturbate and then they have to have sex with other men. That's all that I know. And that's all that they put in that movie with Matt Damon, which I can never remember the name of. But it was one of his early movies before he did like his big break movies. It was in the 90s, and I'm easy to find. Just type in Matt Damon wears a dress, and that's a ritual too that many celebrities have to do. This is it. Their whole life is a ritual. Like, I'm not just like making this stuff up. Like, the interview is a ritual. Them cross-dressing, wearing makeup, and you see this chiseled chin with this huge nose. I call them eye cavities. I know that's not the actual, but you know, deep inset eyes, sloping. It's sloping, but they've already done some sort of genetic manipulation here. Not genetic, hormonal and manipulation to sort of quell those features from really popping out like they probably would even more. See, when you take a dude's masculinity and you water it down, what does that do? Then you abuse them. See how they said right before I paused it that they put something on them? Something was put on them, indeed. And a lot of stuff was put on them, even more and more and more and more and more and more. And I saw the other day, that this person is now reduced to Hallmark movies. Of course, I don't really watch TV. I just see it in passing. I mean, try to escape music, TV. I don't go out of my way to listen to it anymore, but you still ultimately hang around family, you're going to run into it eventually, see it by even in passing, and they've subjected them to Hallmark now. Hallmark movies, which there's nothing wrong with that, except for it seems like that's the place where they send people when, like they do a Britney, they send them to Las Vegas, and they have them there on residency because they want to keep track of them. The programming broke, or they're afraid their programming might break.
It hurt.
I don't think it hurt at all.
It didn't hurt you?
Not at all, no. I don't think it's hurt either of us. Fortunately, see, Brooke was sort of just introduced.
Solemnity, hurt, pain, anger, brilliance, all displayed on a quiet brilliance, all displayed on Brooke's face, because I want to highlight this intelligence factor, because that's a lot of people in Hollywood. Like, they had potential to be anything but a Hollywood star. Will Smith's an example. He was MIT bound. Why did he pick being a rapper and making some rap that makes no sense, and then being subjected to the gay rituals to get the part on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Why? And then more so, it's just selling out completely his children. So it's a pattern, and it's come from royal bloodlines. They come from royalty a lot of times, and a lot of times they're all related through bloodline. That leads back to who? Cain. I mean, God wouldn't make this complicated. There's usually only two things, which is why two sides, which is only one, which is why they like duality. She's wearing black and white. It's all tying in nicely. I heard one time in a Kathy O'Brien video that when they wear a flower, this is a high up handler. This isn't just like, oh, well, this is their mother, father, whatever. No, like they wear these flowers. It's to like trigger the victim. It's like a certain kind. Like she would say even HW, and I really wouldn't doubt he would do something like that. The subtle things, the Bob Hope type of things. Bob Hope, another huge handler. But the quiet brilliance they have, when I say brilliance, I'm not trying to say like, oh, pipe them up, like, oh, like, no, I'm saying like, this is a factor, and this can even intertwine with their programming, even if they're programmed not to say anything, which they are. Like their mouth looks like it's sealed, right? That's like witchcraft. They're bound by something, but their brilliance is also helping them not like say some stuff like Amanda Bynes, which is that they said they wanted to kill their father, which Does it look like they want to? Does it look like they would have any? This is like Carrie, the movie Carrie, which also, I've been looking into this. I've been looking into this for a long time. All these things. I was looking into this before God even woke me up. Like Carrie, I knew something was wrong with that movie. It wasn't just a movie, and here it is. Except for they never got triggered like Carrie and killed the whole town, burned the whole town down at the end. And yeah. By the way, that movie was an initiation ritual for John Travolta and Sissy Spacek, as they dumped actual pig's blood on them. But yeah, I just want to say this is where things really kick off, and their reactions. It's gonna get harder for them, Brooks, to hide. Testosterone, suppressants. That also might be a factor why they don't glitch too much here. But they're gonna glitch a little though. But the programming, they've already taken the precautionary measures wearing the flower. So they weren't gonna glitch out to begin with from the beginning, but again, this stuff has to be exposed. And even in the little ways it's exposed here, it is exposed slightly. Because why? The darkness has to come to light. And it will.
To the world at that time.
But prior to
that, she'd been working 10 years. And we were familiar with, on a smaller scale, of other people not being so appreciative of Brooke, being jealous, in essence.
Isn't that at the root of a lot of it? I mean, when you feel the negative
mainly,
stuff
yes,
coming in.
Yes. And as Brooke mentioned a while back, too, that the bad mail that she gets, Lyle and I screen all the mail, that the bad mail she gets, I especially want to attend to that, because I know that the people who are writing, the kids, either they want attention, they figure there's, without even knowing it themselves, there's a way of getting Brooke's attention. And I immediately get in touch with them, and invariably they're just so, they're turned around totally. In fact, I was on a talk show with Brooke, and there were 1,800 women putting us down, really.
Sounds like they filmed your show. One other show.
Got it.
There were 1,800 women, but not all of them were putting us down. But there were a few women who, in the audience, openly put me down in particular, and after the show, couldn't wait to get to me to find out what to do with their daughter. How do I go about it?
And I asked my mom for her autograph and everything.
What do you think? Did that make you angry, though, when you find that someone's projecting something on your mother which has nothing to do with the way she's been a mom, and it's just their bad thinking?
You think about it for a minute that you might be angry, but I have to think above it.
Evaluate their mentality.
What are they really going through? They must be upset. And, my mom said, evaluate their mentality. Think about where they are, and just be above it. Know that they must know somewhere that what they're saying.
Sheila, Terry, excuse me, do you think that, I don't know why I called you Sheila. Did anyone ever call you Sheila before?
It came out.
Do you think that people really wanted to think that Brooke was not having a childhood?
Oh, of course. It would have been much easier. For instance, I've always brought this, and I have nothing against a dental assistant, but I always use that because that was the first thing that came to my mind when I will say, it's interesting, if I were bringing Brooke up by myself, say, I want to do the best for her, and I think all parents want to do the best for their children, and they do what they feel is the best. And Brooke, being as pretty as she is, that seemed to work for us, and she was happy doing with what she was doing, and I promoted it. If I wanted Brooke to be a dental assistant, and I promoted that, no one would say a word.
Or a doctor, or a dentist, or anything,
Right, or anything.
It's the showbiz aspect of it.
Yes.
And there's just as much, I don't feel my mom's pushing me, but there's a push to make your kid become a doctor or anything.
Yeah. If you want to inspire your children.
I literally, that whole thing, how they just push them aside. I slightly laughed at the fact that how nonchalant they're just shifting them through like they don't have a soul. That is the rhythm of this world. Just moving people through, shifting the spotlight, because why? They say that they're pretty. Well, how did they get that way? Well, what made them think that they were primed to be this way, even though they were born a boy? What kind of religion could they follow that would make them think it's okay to do this? I wonder. Revelation 2:9 and 3:9 will lead the way to what that answer is. And the Talmud will further explain why they did what they did to this person.
Terri, I'm very curious. You know, I have a daughter myself, and I raised her until recently all alone, and I can understand all the problems.
She's 14.
She's 14, and I wanted to know what got you to the first step of having Brooke model at 11 months.
Well, she was a very beautiful baby. I mean, and I think that is really the answer, but it's not a general answer, because there were no babies as beautiful as Brooke.
What made you decide? You know, were you alone? Were you divorced at that point?
Yes. I had gotten a phone call from Scavula saying that they had 17 screaming babies there, and
They needed one who
they
could
needed
kiss.
one who could kiss.
And then from then on, what
Well,
made you
then-
pursue it, and how?
Well, then what you do is you go to an agency, a reputable agency, and they either turn you down or they don't. And there's a lot of legwork involved.
So did you just like that? It's a good question.
I did,
Just thought it was good for me. It was fun.
Well, yes, because
They're still trying to figure it out, because like as a kid, an adolescent, like, because I said they're not 18 yet, they're still trying to figure out, they're trying to look up to their mother. They're like that Dr. Seuss, well, I think it's a Dr. Seuss book called like Are You My Mother? Like, why? They're trying to figure out why too, but like I said, they're intelligent, so they're just trying to like play dumb, really trying to like underhandedly get in some sort of jab. Like, so why is it again? Because you're not like telling everyone, but I want to know, like, for my own like healing. Like, you see, like they've been looking like they're about to cry for a long time. Again, a young man wouldn't, not saying that young men are not prone to cry, but when you mess with their hormones, some alterations in any way, shape, or form, they're gonna have a reaction. I mean, even as a girl going to a woman, you're gonna have just a girl going to a woman, boy going to a man. There's gonna be some sort of hormonal reactions, and amplified once you take drugs, PEDs, a lot of them, not regulated or approved by the FDA. But like, they're looking for answers too, just like I'm trying to figure out why they're treating them like they're not there, why their soul doesn't matter, why they didn't hesitate to throw their kid out to the spotlight, and why they didn't think about the repercussions of spiritual manifestations that would happen. I mean, when these people get all this stuff done, when they get like orgyized, when they bring them to orgies, they bring children and infants there too, not like just animals and like whatever else, objects, whatever. I don't even want to go there. They just bring everything that they can, including themselves, and use every part of themselves to defile themselves. So that's a big summary for that. I'm not going to go into detail, and they have someone who's an infant there for reasons so they can use other parts of their body they shouldn't use. Like, say, I'll give an example. Pamper parties, which I wouldn't have known about if it wasn't for this channel that's I don't watch anymore, called Jammy Deluxe, only because I just got tired of the cursing. Sometimes you can't avoid it. It's just like, okay, whatever, but I don't know. I go back because I remember, but then I'm like, I gotta move forward because I don't curse anymore myself and haven't in a while, so I just couldn't like take it. Sometimes I still listen to these things and then I feel like this heaviness, so I shouldn't we shouldn't as Christians, but, you know, everyone's in different steps in their walk, so I'm just like, I would feel better not watch. But anyway, Jamie Deluxe had a video about a man in Canada, Peter Nygaard, I believe was his name. He had pamper parties. So yeah, that's why they have children there. They eat the poop. So yeah, it'd be kind of hard for somebody to wrap their mind around why somebody wants somebody to be given away, like a party token. Wow. Absolutely pitiful. And again, I apologize if it seemed inappropriate if I laughed earlier. I was just in such... My mind was just perplexed, despite the fact that I heard this before. I already heard this before. It just made me even more perplexed. I was just like, wow.
Because fortunately, Brooke was at an age, naturally, she couldn't talk back. She couldn't say, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
From one time.
Now you should hear me.
What do you talk back about now, Brooke?
What I'm gonna wear that day.
Oh, so it's not the heavyweight philosophical stuff.
Oh, no. No, she's very...
They couldn't talk back, meaning while they were getting abused, they couldn't respond. That's why their questioning just helped to trigger an actual valid answer, like an actual somewhere close to true answer. That's the part of the reason why they started them so young, because they couldn't respond back. And some creepazoid, dark person who's really satanic and witchy, like their father here, is actually propelled by that kind of thing. Like, it's like, oh, even better, like they can't talk. And again, this person, the reason I look at them for so long was just because of how it's just so obvious that they were supposed to be a male. I hope it doesn't sound like I'm obsessed with the fact that they're so clearly male, but I can't just pretend and lie and say, oh yeah, let's just say her name is Brooke and that it's a she, right? This hairline, this swooping, this is a guy in their generation as well. It's like every generation seems to have like their own clones, and you see across the generation they may even have the same build because they didn't tamper with the food as much with the GMOs and add in all the chemicals, the chemtrails, and all this influences how certain generations end up looking within certain age ranges. I've been looking at this for a long time, and God exposed this to me a while ago. So this person's from my dad's generation, and although, like, my dad's a different race completely, my dad had, like, the same hairline when he was around his teenager years. So this is just such a masculine looking person, right? And they like this. They like when someone's super, and if you look at them now, they started making them work out in the 80s with the workout tapes they did. They really wanted to make them really bulked up because they really wanted to make God really they wanted to tempt the Lord God by ruining his creation and pumping in the female estrogen, progesterone hormones, and then having their own testosterone hormones suppressed, but unoppressed at the parties, so that they can be a full-on maniac. Because sometimes these people, not saying that, well, no, I'm not saying that I have seen anyone full-on, I haven't seen a full-on, like, manifestation of someone fully possessed, like, in that environment, because I wouldn't want to, nor would I seek that out. But an idea of it I saw one time when I was looking through models on this channel called Vogue. It was like a little, like, they go to their home and they, like, ask them questions. It was like a Vogue magazine channel, and they're like all these models. And there's one model, and they were in there for Victoria's Secret, which is the secret of Victoria's Secret is that her name is Victor, and that Victor is a man. So Victoria's Secret is she is a man. And it was a model, and they were just walking around, and they're in this case a hotel, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere they just bend over backwards, start walking around the room backwards. They thought it was normal, but to me I was like, well, but in that world all they do is go to those kind of elite MK Ultra, MK Beta sex kitten parties. And so to them that was normal, but them flipping over backwards and walking around the room, I mean, they flipped over to the back bin and start walking backwards, and then they were laughing hysterically. And they weren't, of course, they didn't appear to be possessed because it's not like you would know, you know. Like it would be like almost like a movie where they're crawling up the wall. This stuff really can happen. But they were partially there, and that was enough for me. I was like, so, but at the parties, they're not just like a full-on sex machine, which is why movies like, let's say, Austin Powers Goldmember was made to get all, and Bond, James Bond, to get all the beta sex kittens out there so they can be like on display, and like so guys can lust after a man dressed like a woman. Like at the parties, they fully like do everything but shapeshift. Like it was an inkling of a view into what is actually they're capable of once they put so much on them, right? Okay, like they look normal here, but when they trigger, okay, and when they switch personalities, and I know this is a long tangent, they they have so many personalities, and it shouldn't be this way. God never wanted it to be this way with all these personalities, half male, half female. That is a curse, by the way. When somebody's born like that, I know someone out there might be offended if they're this way and they haven't, you know, God hasn't led them to this truth about this world and how many people they're playing games. They think this is a game. This is a test to see who's going to make it, heaven or hell. Not both, heaven or hell, sorry. And like, this is a huge part of it. Like, this male to female, female to male. Why? Why do they have to do this? A lot of times when they're born like that, just know that is a curse, because God made male and then he made female, not both at the same time. Like, no. I don't know when this came about. I believe this kind of thing could come about from a generational curse. Okay? So, but yeah, when somebody goes out of their way to make someone other than what God created, you get what happened to Brooke Shields.
Easy.
Terri, how do you explain Brooke's uncanny ability to project herself as being older? Not just the way she looks, but also the way her ideas, the things she thinks about, her values, the way she deals with people, her maturity. The thing that impressed me from the first day that I met you two, when Brooke was 10 and very, very cute, and like just a miniature of yourself.
Again, I laugh because the reaction. Can you believe what they just said? They were 10 years old. They were 10 years old, Brooke repeats, and that they're very, very cute, he says. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? Bill Boggs, top handler himself, herself. Their reaction, they look like they want to sock them in the jaw. They look like they just jump them or something. I don't know how again, this is why I say a lot of this holding them back is witchcraft, being bound. They did some witchcraft behind the scenes or on them as they're out there on the couch talking, because how did they not explode right there? Programming, switching altars, all this stuff to help them not really, because then they even under their breath are like, oh yeah, so cute, like they're like repeating, like it's like this constant trauma for them, which is another that's another component of MK Ultra right there in your face, right there. You know, maybe I'm still trying to cope with what I'm hearing here too, because a lot of people I've heard say they laugh because they're trying to cope, they're trying to deal with, they're trying to handle. They're trying to make it more lighthearted than it is. Like, and there's really no reason that I should have laughed, because it's nothing that, it's just, maybe there's a shock factor. It's shocking, right? You know, maybe there's a surprise. There's a surprise, because I don't want it to come off as insensitive. But maybe I'm still trying to cope and handle with what I'm hearing, because to most normal people like myself, it wouldn't make sense. why this is happening. Why? What's the real reason why this is happening? Why does this have to happen to so many people after, before, and in the future? Like, why? Why are they so pleased with what they've done? Why are they so proud? They have the spirit of pride. They have some evil intentions. Like they're planning more for them to do. Like they're ready to keep going. This person's dead now, too, they say. So they say. Their mother, father's dead now. Now they're free. I remember the interview I watched them. They looked like they felt free. But they shouldn't have to feel that way. They shouldn't have felt bound in the first place by their mother, father, Terri. Whatever. Complete snake. They look like they could absolutely slug him and her. Both of them. But they don't. With that square jaw. I mean, it's like they intentionally flex. Like, I still do have that muscle underneath, They do. You don't, yeah. They still have the muscle underneath, even though they tried to get the skin all smooth and silky like a woman. It's still a dude underneath. Remember.
No, now you're beautiful. No, you were beautiful then, but it's just you're a miniature version of the same thing.
I'm Jane.
It's wonderful.
Get taller.
You know what I'm saying? Why is she able to do that? That's what makes Brooke Shields Brooke Shields. The fact that she looks older, she seems older. She, at age 10, was like a little woman.
No, I really believe. I think when we're born, our characteristics are there, and whether we know it or not, they have to be developed. I think basically Brooke is a very serious-minded person.
No, I think that comes through.
And I think that's where, in her seriousness, very often appears that she's more mature than she is, when she's not really, especially at the age of 10. I think she was serious then, as she was when she was 6, perhaps, but we didn't know it because at 6 you don't think of a child being serious, or pretty much not.
Do you talk about everything as mother and daughter?
All the time.
Everything, yes.
That's really a key to the success of your relationship, I think. I mean, particularly when you've gone through the Brooks being in the position of doing the intimate scenes, the sexy scenes in films. A lot of people are...
No, I have to pause it again because he's headed downhill again. Once they start with this stuff, I gotta point out why I thought he was both too. A lot of times HGH can make the guy's legs and arms longer than they would have been. And his hands are really small. His neck is barely there. When his chin is facing forward, it's barely there. Usually, FTMs have no neck. Again, I could be wrong. Again, usually they have square padding in their suits, but usually they're very slopey-shouldered. I got that term from Hans Wormhat. So, yeah, like... And I'm thinking with this person, a lot of facial installations. The nose, usually there's a crease. Very hard to see with this older video, but usually there's a crease when they're put a larger nose on. But then it blends out with all of this huge jaw implant. I don't know what's going on with the ears. He's got that warlock look, doesn't he? Like... He's got that, what you would look for back then if you wanted to know what they looked like in that era, that era. This is what a warlock would look like, too. Just like this, too. Wow. Just like this. Oh, my goodness. He reminds me of someone else. There's another one who looks just like this from this era, and he had his own show, too. Was it Bob Davidson? It's some sort of guy named Davidson. This guy, he looks like a warlock. If I could just remember his name. Well, if you want to know what I'm talking about, look up The only thing I can give you to point you towards who this guy is, just so if you wanted to look it up, this guy's name, his last name was definitely Davidson. And the only reason I was looking him up was because I was looking for an interview on one of the fourth BG members, the fourth unsung BG member. And his name was, goodness, what was his name? He was the fourth member of he was the youngest brother, and he was unofficially the fourth BG, and he had a solo career and died really early. Oh gosh. Well, so I can't remember him. I guess just look up Gibb and Davidson if you really wanted to know who I'm talking about, but I can't even remember his name right now. So I guess it's not supposed to be mentioned. I'm guessing what God is letting me know here. I cannot remember. Perhaps it'll come to me later if I'm supposed to remember, but this person, the reason this person was acting so much older than they were when they were young was because that's another thing that happens when people are abused to a really, really, really extreme extent. They end up acting older than they actually are. And I think, again, this ties in with the spiritual changes that they go through. They have to grow up quickly. So they're the only child. They had to defend themselves, especially if they're the only child. Like they are. And I also wanted to add, a good example of what I'm saying here is if you go and look at the Mitt Romney documentary or snippets of it, I want to say I don't prescribe to the left or right. I don't follow anybody. I don't vote, all that. I've already, said before, but I just wanted to make sure everyone knows I'm not going out of my way to look this stuff up because I follow any of these people. But I saw a trailer and it made me watch part of the documentary. Made me want to watch part of the documentary. It was Mitt Romney on the couch in the basement of his house with his grandchildren and great-grandchildren, yeah. Somehow he's already got great-grandchildren. And the eldest is always super protective when the children are going to be abused. The way the eldest I think it was the grandson, he was looking over the whole entire couch of his siblings and cousins and all that, and he was just giving him that eye, giving him those eyes rather than not all-seeing eye, you're not touching my brothers and sisters. But this is just Brooke. Brooke is alone. There's no siblings, so yeah, they had to grow up quick.
Are embarrassed even to have a conversation with their own mother or father about something like this. So here you're a mother and daughter who are able to be so open about it that it goes on the screen, and yet that openness is never celebrated. The thing that is criticized is, in fact, that you're exploiting.
What does it look like they're thinking right there? You're like a prick? They look like they're kind of cursing or something? Sending word curses at them. I mean, if you think word curses, it's the same as saying it too. It still acts the same. So that's why you're going around, you see some people, getting triggered or something on the road. You got to bind up those evil word curses. They could be shouting in their car and you can't hear it. That kind of thing. You see people duking it out and honking at each other and stuff. Bind up the word curses because this witchcraft is crazy. These people can be thinking stuff, and it'll have the same meaning now. I'm not saying this person is wrong for thinking bad things about them for what they've been through, because this person here, Bill Boggs, has probably been a perpetrator, you could say, a person who's also helped with grooming them. It looks like they'd like to rip their face off, and that's very extreme, but notice when they depict these people on film, and their MK Ultra programming they've gone all Manchurian, and they're capable of anything. So that's beyond my imagination, but I pulled that out. I pulled that ripping the face off thing because they really can do some things like this and then not even remember that they just switch to another altar, and then they're now back to normal. Which is why in the courtroom they try to make it seem like they try to avoid going to that, oh well, they had no clue, and that they have like some mental thing. But when they go to that option, when they do go to that option that they were mentally unstable and that they couldn't have been responsible for the crime, most times I'm gonna say that when they go ahead and say that they don't remember committing the crime, they really mean it, and they might as well just skip the mental unsound part, and go straight to spiritual, because they were not aware that they were committing the crime, because they switched personalities. This person, they look like they're on the verge of doing that here, but again, they're under control, they're handled.
Brooke, that she's too young. So how do you deal with the whole range of thinking that Brooke Shields is the first of a whole bunch of baby models who are selling things through their sexuality and they're only 10, 12, 11 years old? Mm-hmm. How do you defend that?
Well, first of all, I really don't feel I should defend it.
Well, if someone attacks you or criticizes you, that's what I mean.
Because I hope to continue on with Brooke, and she feels willing also. I just think it has to be channeled in the right way.
That whole statement feels like a millstone around their neck is already there. They're ready to help continue to groom them and make them into a more sexual object, even though they are super young, illegal, and were even more illegal when they were 10 or 11, and that they hope that they're compliant too, and that they want to keep on doing it too, as if they have a choice. If they had them signed under, like, say, contracts for makeup, they did the jean modeling thing, Calvin Klein, that comes with contracts. Contracts, did they sign in blood? Like, they can't get out of this stuff. Like, what do they mean? Like, you can, right? You know, you can repent, walk away. When it comes to contracts and blood, I think it gets pretty complicated. And then oaths, all this oaths, and then they've become a part of these societies and these clubs. All this is on their bio and what they've become a part of. And you can't just, and if you walk away, then they have like a hit on you. So it's just like, so what do they mean? Like, what do they mean? What do they mean if they're willing to continue? That mother is a witch, no doubt.
I think the exploitations, so to speak, that we all have read and heard about or talk about, I think people get off on a young girl.
Bad choice of words. They get off on a young girl.
Looking more mature in commercials for one particular reason. And I think that reason is that not only can they see total innocence, which is definitely there, and two, they have the sexy.
No, that's even worse. That's even worse. No. Please. I said they were headed downhill a long time ago.
Child, too. They have the sexy person that appeals to them.
Look at how troubled they look. This is what they've been taught by their own mother, to, like, be more... I don't even like that word. Ugh. No, I'm not even going to say it, but they've been taught by their mother. Yeah, no. They've been... I don't even want to... This is so icky. Like, this is so icky. This is disgusting. This whole thing is just foul. From beginning to end, it's got a stench like no other. I just wanted to do this interview. I wanted to put this out there if no one had ever seen it before. Again, the Holy Spirit led me to this channel. This Bill Boggs guy, everything is there. Hugh Chandler, that's all I can say. And the last the last minute of this interview is just, it's a literal blowing off of the lid. It's like a whale. It's like a whale just shoot off everything from the little blowhole. It's just rockets, bombs away, 4th of July, like cannons, kapow, like gunpowder. It's just so destructive, explosive. This is crazy. This was actually on TV. This was actually the defining point, and how fitting right where I paused it. Got the one eye thing going. The cameraman, they strategically kept the camera off them at certain points when they were saying awkward things, but it was almost unavoidable, which is good, which was why this interview was so exposing. But with the moments that they should have really, really, really had the camera on them, like a few minutes ago when the woman, the father, mother started to say why they thought there was nothing wrong with what they've done, and when they started to tie their own millstone before God did it for them around their neck. That's where they should have had the camera more on them, their face, Brooke, because and that was symbolic. They really just want them to be a fly on the wall. And it's symbolic of a generation as well. I really don't like to say. This is a lot of people who went through some SRA type stuff in an inadvertent way, without really going through everything this person has been through. Because that generation, I've often talked to my parents, and they would say, yeah, back then you were better seen and not heard. In this case, you're just not anything. You're not there. In this case, they're not seen and they're not heard. And when they are, they're swept aside. Better seen and not heard is really, really, really present here. And then more so.
Them.
Sure, and it's a forbidden fruit.
Yes, and yet.
Fruit. Chicken. Oh, well, they didn't mention chicken, but I'm just painting a picture of pizza, veggies, sauce, cheese, ice cream. I might be doing a video, just because I noticed that all the videos are obliterated from YouTube that were about Despicable Me, about the whole series, about the whole trilogy, because just flipping through, it'd be really simple. Probably just have some photos from IMDb's images, because it's all there. All you gotta do is go there right now, and whenever you get the time, and flip through all the images from Despicable Me 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. You could even look at the Minions. I couldn't go any further. It's all there. Fruit, they said.
It's all wrapped up in one, and that is really appetizing.
Well,
Woo! Pedivore spotted. They don't just like grooming their child, they like other fruit. Forbidden fruit, strange fruit. Huh? Wait, where did I hear this before? Wait a second, they made some music about that. Wonder what that was actually about. Strange fruit. Well, fruit, in case someone watching doesn't know, and I've just painted a very strange picture for them, fruit equals children to them, and there's a whole chart. If you just look up, say, pedo codes, which that might be a unregulated search on Google, so maybe DuckDuckGo, look up FBI pedophile codes, and it's like right there, whole chart. Screenshots. Years ago, when I went on Tumblr, which I should have never went and created an account, when I was still in sin, and admittedly, yes, I was there for other reasons that I shouldn't have been, other than for a social media platform, because this was a different kind of social media platform then, before they brung in the, well, you could compare it to when they and I wasn't really coherent for this time. That was 99, 2000. I was like 3, 2. When they made that transition from having the intranet be on the surface net to making the internet most of the surface net, and pushing all that other crazy stuff that people saw when they searched on search engines, like before Google existed. Like I said, like 98, 99, 2000, when they started to come to prominence, they had everything on the forefront of the internet. Everything. You could search for everything. That's what Tumblr was like. So I'm painting a picture again here to say that towards the end, before God was like, enough, and I know you've had enough too. You got to get away from all this uncleanliness. It's just defiling you. I had gotten to a point where I started to drift, and I saw, let's just say, now, I got to make a testimony about this too one day, because I kind of gave a mini testimony, not really in my first 2 ever videos, but that was not a full testimony. And I have to give a separate testimony about how I got out of the sin that I used to be into, right? I'll go ahead and say it was pornography. This was a 12-year affair, if not 13. And I'm 24 right now. So that's a lot of time spent defiling oneself. So, you know, he didn't have to save me, but he did. So I'm going to be very frank here. I was looking at a genre called gay porn, okay? And I have to give a testimony about this separate. I had never said this before in any of my videos. I was addicted to gay porn. I will put it out there. I was. And the type of porn I had gotten into watching was, at the end, I'm going to be honest and say, half of it wasn't even actually porn anymore. It was about just looking at people's stomachs. Okay, I'll just put that out there. And then the other half was, I had veered into some person's account one day on Tumblr who I followed at the time, and they had some sort of role play type thing, which is like an incest nature, but it wasn't really. They were pretending, right? Okay, so again, my mind was like, what is this? Okay, I'm painting the picture fully because I don't want to be like vague when I have been vague this entire video. I haven't been vague this entire video. I've been very thorough. And so I clicked on this profile that had posted this roleplay fake. Again, it was like weird stuff by the end. When God was about to yank me out of this world, it was just like, what are you doing? Like, this wasn't even real people. This was like a cartoon or something. So like, and then I click on it, and eventually I just keep on clicking profile, next profile who posts something, next profile who posts something. And here comes a post, which I know I screenshotted it. And I know I should still have it. So this is how I know. God was like, you know, you just saw it. Just know that you saw this, and remember, because it disappeared supernaturally from my photos, from my photo app. It was a post that someone had posted who was on this Tumblr website, who was into kids. Somehow this incest roleplay fake cartoon weird photo led to a post after me just clicking, scrolling. That's why I was done, and God was really done, because he saw every single thing that I did before that. I know some of you guys out there have a testimony like this, so I hope that you guys have already made one or thinking about making one, because I just remembered, like, he brought me really far, because I was very twisted, like, looking at fat people and, yeah, looking at pictures of fat people. Anyway, I'm not saying anything wrong with fat people. I'm just saying I was looking at them for other reasons. Twisted. Anyway, your mind is warped when you're in sin. Like, you don't understand how or why you got there. But anyway, this post had all the codes on it. I wanted to say there was a sub-community that I discovered that day I didn't know about. There was a whole pedophile community, just like out in the open, that I never even knew existed. I didn't know that they existed. This was around the time of Me Too. This was right before Me Too, but for kids, because of course there was a side to Me Too that was for kids over Nickelodeon at Disney. There's a whole thing that was the underbelly of Me Too. That's what woke me up. That was fall 2018. I found this stuff right before then, in the middle of Pizzagate, and all the codes. They said, remember. This person's post said, remember, always use these codes when you're talking about children so that nobody will detect you. This person was very stern, I remember, in this post. And here comes a whole entire list. Not an image that they had made, a list like as if it was common knowledge, right? Because why? They use these codes on the dark web. I've never been on the dark web. Did I feel like I stepped over into it that day? Yes. All the codes were there, and more. About walnuts, all the stuff, sauce, everything, cheese, veggies, all of it, and more, though, and more. In addition to the codes that were found out by the FBI, it was all there on this list, and I know I screenshotted it, and it was gone. And I think, again, you know, God could have been like, you know, you're going to run into this information again later, so maybe you don't need it right now. I thought it would have been really, really solid proof coming from this side that before they wiped them off of the face of the internet like they should have. They scattered them everywhere like rats when they cleaned up Tumblr. And that was my cue. After I found this stuff, I was like, whoa. What is this world? Who are these people? Where were they? I never knew they existed. I didn't. I was truly naive about this kind of thing. I'd never heard of. I never really knew about pedophiles and how out in the open they were. Once you found their side once every time they get discovered, they scatter like rats. And before I deleted all my social media, created a Twitter account, created a Pinterest account, everything else, gone. Instagram had a problem with this, and I said, well, who would have known that was there? Twitter has a problem. I don't go on there. I'm ready to delete my account. I recreated another account under the same name as my channel. They have a similar issue. But then they know this stuff is generating money probably somehow on the back end for them. So maybe that's why they don't obliterate it. Or they want to save face. Save face was the reason why they did it for Tumblr. But I just wanted to say, this person's saying all these things. Fruit. They're talking about the S word. They're talking about this like this is just part of their livelihood. This is their livelihood. This is their lifeline. This is who they are. These are the terrors. These are the witches. These are the people who will have hell all to themselves forever. They will be there. That'll be there waiting for them when they arrive. As this person died, it'd be great if they repented, you know. I really would. I would be happy to know. I won't know. And hopefully, we'll never know. Because I don't want to find out if I'm wrong and they didn't repent. And they went where I thought they may have went, okay? Which is to hell. I'm going to play out the rest of the video. It was a really long tangent, but I thought it was necessary. If anyone listened to this whole thing, I thank you so much. Because I know I can ramble.
Listen, if I say, and this has happened to me, and I say, I really like Brooke Shields. I'm like, I like you, and we're friends, and I like you, and it's wonderful. And somebody will say, you can get arrested for that, and I hate that. And I say, what are you talking about?
It's what they're
I'm a friend,
thinking of, right.
It's what they're thinking of, and that's what I keep coming back. It's like in the film, Peter Sellers' film Being There, where Chance is a simple-minded gardener, and it's the thinking of other people that's projected on him that gives him the characteristics that they like. In this case, it's either that they like or they don't like.
Everybody's always reading into something.
As bad as a lot of people want to make us out to be, I think we're doing a great thing for the teenagers out there, especially. Brooke showing an example as to what she's really like through people like you both, having her on the show, through the fan mail, which is, to me, one of the most important factors in her career.
Did they just bite their lip? You know what? I didn't even notice this before. This person is just there's no words. Disgusting. After talking about something like this, again, they're setting the tone how they think it's okay. They should be able to be friends with them. Complete utter pedophile. That's how they got the job. That's how they keep getting jobs. That's how they moved up as high as they did as TV producer later on. Complete utter, just stinky, very stench-filled, sin-filled, full of demons. He keeps on freaking throwing up the finger to the temple. I didn't say anything, but that's a Masonic hand sign. Also, aka witchcraft, aka black magic. That's how another reason they've been keeping quiet too. I said they put witchcraft, they have them bound in the spirit before. That's why they're in agreement. They're agreeing to, Brooke is in agreement, even though they're not clearly in their face. They're thinking something else. But they said stuff like what they would say, which is, oh, they agree. They're helping people. They definitely help America. Look at it today. They definitely help, yeah, for sure. No, they help degrade. They help degrade something that never was, which is America. America is not America. This is not America. That song, it's true. It never was. So all they did was just help it be more true to what it never was. Move the culture and society towards a new world order. That speech never gets old, though. I love how many videos, like in the truther community, have that little snippet of HW, because he just keeps popping up. It's like he's like groundhog, just pops up everywhere in the truth community and videos, and like, I wasn't trying to hear about him today. And living where I live, which is in the metro Atlanta area, when he died, I remember driving down to Atlanta, and I saw that CNN had a whole dedication to him. The whole world bowed down that day. I'll never forget. I think it was December 2018. Because I'm not keeping track of dates and stuff, seeing as, again, people like them are trying to go to 120 years old. He died at 90-something. Chances are he's still around. He's trying to probably head to 120. Because you can't go any further than that. It says that in the Bible. You can't live past 120, but I just wanted to know, everyone bowed down because they were ready to submit to his command and beckoning to his call for a New World Order 2018. They knew at the funeral, that's why they're passing the notes. They're probably passing notes about how many people they're going to drop from this vax, and I mean, who knows? They're like, whoa, how many people about to drop? Like Bill Gates type stuff, Ted Turner, Georgia Guidestones type stuff. And before I end this video, I want to say I tried to take a visit to the Georgia Guidestones, seeing as I'm so close, because I was like, wow, I'm so close. I mean, I want to take the weekend, Saturday. At the time, I believe I knew about the Sabbath, but I think I was like, still unclear. So I think it was a Saturday. I drove up there to Athens. No, but this town was right above Athens, this town where the Georgia Guidestone's right above Athens. I think I was followed by CIA operatives. I really don't know. Just everyday Masons, probably. I already said I tend to think when I see an RV, real old, like 80s type, 70s, 80s, 90s, like how is it still operating type RV? And they don't seem to be really going anywhere. And they're just heading down the way. They're on back of me. I'm on the highway. I make that left turn that goes straight in the direction of the Georgia Guidestones, and then I make another left turn, and it's right there on the right. As I make this left turn before I make the other left turn where the Georgia Guidestones would be on the right, the RV back of me speeds past me like it's going to keep going straight on the highway. As I make my way down the road, about to make the second left, this car with this trailer RV attachment comes plowing at me. I would say at breakneck speed for that road. It was a tiny one-way street. It was like, I think the speed limit about 45. They're coming at me about 65, and to the point where I'm like, is he gonna run me off the road? This person did not, whatever spirit was on them, did not want me to go to the Georgia Guidestones, you know? I get down the road, they're still there. It was a scare tactic, okay? I don't know if they're Masons, CIA operatives. CIA operatives, I really couldn't say. I know the stalking thing, I was in denial for a time that they had people that were hired to follow. I was like, nah. You know, overall, it's just all spiritual anyway, so then these people are controlled. But then I found out they really do have jobs, and there's people in the military who specialize in this kind of operations, and like, but why me? So then I was under the state of denial too, about what happened to this, to me this day. I get to the end of the road, I turn, make the second left, one of the Georgia Guidestones is on the right. They make a right instead of a left because, again, I think it was a scare tactic. They were about to crash into me. I end up just driving past the Georgia Guidestones. I'm like, there's all these people there. Maybe I don't need to go there. Maybe that's a sign. I end up talking myself out of it after I already drove all the way up there. I mean, wow. Can you say, like, unexplainable, almost, right? I should have just went there. I looked over, there's all these people. I'm like, I kind of wanted to, like, make a video, but then, or maybe take a picture. I was somehow that's all it took for me to turn around and go back home. See, the enemy's tactics. Once you know what to avoid next time. But at the time, this was, I don't know, probably summer 2019. I should have just went up there. And did what I was going to do. Take a picture, video. I don't think I was supposed to go there that day somehow, I think. Or I talked myself out of it, rather. But anyway, I'm just going to let this play out and then end the video. It's already been a very long video.
Getting through to the people that way. Getting letters from hundreds and hundreds of people saying that for 6 years they've been writing celebrities and never gotten as much as a postcard. And Brooke right now, being the age she is it's probably going to be a little bit more tough for her now because she is setting an example for the teenagers out there who want to fashion themselves after her. And I think she's going to do an excellent job. And
I've got a good chance, I'm telling you.
By being 15.
Okay, for some reason the next video is trying to play super bad. Yeah, that's the end of the video, and this is actually perfect that this video comes up next anyway, because this is the video I was referring to anyway when I mentioned Kathy O'Brien. So, anyway, obviously now you know I'm gonna probably it's not gonna be this whole video, obviously it's super long. But this video that popped up will be tied into another video, not the video that I do because this is way too long, but the snippet of it will be tied into another video I do that it will be very, very similar and ties into this one. because it's about the exact same thing, only instead of them being Brooke's age, it's going to be an actual person and their father in the NFL who has done the same thing that Brooke's mother Terri has done to them. But it's going to be like in real time, because the child is still as young as this age when Brooke was when they started. They didn't say or allude, well, they allude. They didn't say outright what happened or what is happening to this child at this time in their life, but it's going to be clear. And I don't, that video is going to be hard. Because it's just so obvious. People watching it who watched the other things before that I've done related to pedophilia, which is not that many videos thus far. This is probably going to be the most shocking one, because it's not just that they taught them the hand signs. No, that's not it, because they're doing these hand signs because they put demons on them, dang it. They've done so much grooming them that they're inclined to not only throw up hand signs, this young child that's going to be in this video, and I want to say, like, it'll be nothing in relation to, oh, this child is doing this, so they must be satanic or something. No, it's because the parents are satanic. The NFL father signed a contract in blood, and now he's being inducted, taking the oath into Freemasonry, and now he has to sell his child to whoever asks for them and do things to them, like what's going to be happening and what's going to be present that it did happen in this video. This child is 100% groomed. And maybe from this video, you'll be able to tell, when you watch videos of so-called celebrities and their children, you'll maybe be able to tell when their child is being groomed. Say the eldest child of the Kardashian family, which I don't even remember their name right now. I think it's North. And then the child of, what was it? Well, I haven't looked into them yet, but Drake's son. They looked groomed, and all I did was see a picture of them on the stage of some award show. But probably the most reigning example that I have seen of a groomed child, very, very groomed, Surrey Cruz. They try to put makeup on the bruises on these children. It doesn't work. They had a very obvious bruise, on their leg, this Surrey Cruz. They've done some very bad things to Surrey Cruz. And the last one is DJ Khaled's son, because he takes him everywhere. And if people didn't notice, this is ridiculous. They take him everywhere. And now he has a record deal. So, you know, they're saying he's like the youngest kid who's had a record deal ever. He like 2, 3, 4. You better believe it doesn't matter if he's 2, 3, or 4. They did exactly the same thing that they did, and that is so beyond cruel. But this next video, that's going to be like this, and topic-wise will be very revealing, to say the least. But I had to get this out there. I said I was going to do this, so I made it through. You guys made it through. If you made it through to the other side of this video, thank you for watching. And God save the children. God bless everyone for watching today, and I hope that you have a great day.